for some of the biggest contenders who will dominate the young right. Charlie Kirk was a charismatic, unifying Christian figure on the right who was able to unify a bunch of disparate factions through his popularity and through his charisma and his ability to go out and debate people. He was able to get a lot of left-wingers to switch to the right and get a lot of really people in the independent line, young men to vote for Trump, which usually those guys don't vote in elections, or they voted Democrat or something like that. But Charlie Kirk was able to get a lot of moderates and independents further to the right and move a lot of people on the right further right. Following his death, which was an awful tragedy, there's a really big power vacuum within the American right. Now, a lot of people have tried to, in the past week or so, tried to fill this void, and a couple will be able to, a couple will not. But there is a huge power vacuum. One of the first ones we're going to cover is Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro in his Daily Wire previously did the college campus circuit. If you don't remember, about like 2016, 2015, Shapiro went around all the college campuses and did basically what Charlie Kirk did. He would debate them, obviously not with a 10. He would usually do it on a stage. But he has a lot of experience with Charlie Kirk did. But the problems he faces is that this is the 2020s now. This is 2025. A lot more people are going to be not as they won't like his ideas as much, and a big reason is his Zionism. Right, a lot of the young right is a lot more isolationist, and obviously Gen Z is a lot more isolationist, and the left is flat out anti-Zionist, and there are very large anti-Zionist elements on the right. And the thing is, with Shapiro, whenever he does a college campus tour now, all he's going to be asked about is Israel and is Zionism, and that's really not going to bode well in a generation which already doesn't like Israel that much, and Israel has lost a lot of popularity among especially the left, with the left being completely anti-Israel, and the young right, it's lost tons of popularity. But Ben Shapiro is seen as a mainstream figure, and he has a lot of connections, which some of these people on this list do not have nearly the amount of connections that Ben Shapiro has. Onto Ben Shapiro's complete opposite, who has some of the opposite benefits and some of the opposite negatives. Nicholas J. Fuentes and the Groypers have a growing ideology, and they're going viral on Instagram, TikTok. If you go on any website, you will see tons and tons of this guy's clips. And a big reason why is he manages to appeal to a lot of the young right through his charisma, and the other benefit that he has that not a lot of these other guys have is because his fan base is so loyal and so radical. He has a ton of clippers who are able to make him a lot more popular than he would normally be, because the guy only has about 900,000 followers on Twitter and only about 400,000 on Rumble. And Nick, because of despite his small size and those things, is able to make his voice a lot more loud throughout other things, through his fan base who constantly posts this stuff, and they do this for free. Whereas a lot of these other people, if they needed somebody to do that, they would have to pay them all. But one of his biggest problems is that he has he's not establishment. He's not seen as a mainstream figure, and one of his other problems is that currently he's a bit anti-Trump, as in he really doesn't want Republicans to vote for Vance in the 2028 upcoming election, and he was recently quite anti-Trump, as in he wants his own candidate, and he wants Trump to be more radical. This is going to make him seem to be anti-Republican, and will make it hard for him to get all of Charlie Kirk's former base. But a lot of Charlie Kirk's former base went over to him, and him and his group, the Groypers, were able to quite effectively infiltrate TPUSA, with some news articles saying that well over 30 of their campus organizations have been infiltrated by the Groypers. And this was back in the day, back a couple months ago, before he blew up. Nowadays, it's probably, I wouldn't be surprised, around like 40% of them were infiltrated or led by Groypers. Now, on to the next one, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson has a lot of the benefits of the last segment without many of the drawbacks. Tucker has influence, connections, and his ideology is popular. He's an isolationist, and he's quite popular. His ideology is very easily able to be popular among the young right, as he's an isolationist, and he's a bit of a populist, more so than Ben Shapiro. But unlike Nick, one of the problems is he doesn't have an army of clippers who are able to spread his views far past his actual popularity in terms of followers and so on and so forth. But he's not a pariah, and that gives him a lot of benefits. So there's a very high chance he could end up having a very influential role in TPUSA. Now, if we look at the next guy, Vivek Ramaswamy and the general tech right, they don't stand much to gain from this at all, despite them being previously a very quick-growing faction on the right in the 2024 election. They aren't really that popular, and their power does not come from general popularity or mass. It really comes from money, especially as AI is replacing a lot of the tech companies' workers. They're losing a lot of support base with that, and the youth is generally becoming a lot more anti-tech and a lot more anti-tech accelerationism, which is what this movement wants. This movement is very obviously pro-H1B, it's very pro-AI, and both of those things are very, very unpopular. And AI is becoming very unpopular because of the fact that it is making a lot of people lose their jobs, and those things are going to actually hurt, especially the youth the worst. The young right will be hurt by that, and especially those on college campuses, because that's the jobs that are being replaced by AI, right? And this group being very pro-H1B, which has recently got a lot of flack from the right, won't really make them popular on the right after what happened. And really a lot of their power came from being vaguely aligned with TPUSA and kind of piggybacking off of it because TPUSA needed the money for it. Now on to the next one. Now this is